Hey everyone, welcome back to the Mark Loeffler Experience. We got Andrew Hines on again. Thank you, Andrew, again for making the trek all the way from Burlington, Ontario to the office here 10 minutes away. We really do appreciate it. We're going to be talking about supply chain issues. Are we going to have a very Merry Christmas?
That is the question.
For those who don't celebrate Christmas, Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or supply chain issues.
Well, you know what, this just kept hearing about it, right? First you hear it from the less mainstream, sources, and then you start hearing about it from the more mainstream sources. So to me, is kind of caused to dig deeper, look into it, see what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, I've been following that for a couple of months now. Ships are backing up at ports still.
Yeah.
With goods on them. We have a microchip shortage. The lumber shortage kind of just went away.
That one's a curious one, and we could dig into that.
People were hoarding, and then they got caught hoarding.
And it kind of flooded the market with some supplies. So for the most part, lumber prices have come down significantly. Not back to where they were, but much better.
And most people are predicting this won't be totally fixed until 2024, 2025. Yeah, that I'm listening to.
Right, and this goes back to the same whole supply and demand thing. If there's just less supply, and if this delay and these the inability to unload these ships causes us to have a restricted supply, I think a lot of people are predicting we're going to see a lot of things go up in cost significantly in the near future. Again, how do we account for that? What are we going to do? But what are your thoughts first off?
It's not a China problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're still over there manufacturing. Okay, so yes, they are shipping more stuff over. So what I think happened is all these companies at the beginning of the pandemic were like, oh, supply is going to dry up. Automakers, Ford, GM, they canceled their microchip order. That's what happened, is they canceled their microchip order.
They did.
100%. That's why they have no microchips. That's why Tesla has microchips. So a Tesla car has like 400 microchips compared to like a GM that has 80.
Right.
And they have all their stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have everything because they never canceled. So GM, Ford, they canceled their microchips.
Because they were anticipating a
demand
drop. Okay.
Right? With COVID, they had no idea. They're like, they freaked out. And so I think a lot of people did that, right? I think a lot of retailers, and they just said, well, demand's going to go. Like, people aren't coming to the store. Demand's going to go away.
Right.
So we're not going to buy anything. And I think what happened was they're like, oh, crap. That's not true. Let's crank everything up again. And then when they cranked everything up again, what happened? Everybody thought for the ships. So there are enough cargo ships, but they scuttled a whole bunch of cargo ships and scrap metaled them at the beginning, right?
Right. You've heard the container shortage too, right?
Yeah. Well, that's because my neighbor works for Brewers Retail. They have to ship kegs back to Europe. And basically what's happening is the ships won't wait long enough to pick up empty containers to take back. They're going to another port, picking up and going somewhere, right?
So it's really just misallocation of containers.
They're going Halifax to the Carolinas and then around. But they're not waiting in Halifax to pick up containers. They're just getting dumped and not returned.
Yeah, so I mean, more of a misallocation of containers than it is of a shortage of them.
I think what happened was this is just a big corporate screw up. What does that mean for us at Christmas? What does that mean for us moving forward? The thing I've heard is like Walmart, Best Buys of the world, they went out and commissioned their own ships, and they're getting a smaller ship go into a different port, not LA, not Long Beach, not Vancouver. So they're going into these smaller ports and unloading, and they're going to be stocked up.
So you don't think we're going to see a shortage there?
I mean, I haven't bought any Christmas presents yet.
I kind of want to just to be safe, but it's not just that, right?
You're a little more conservative than I am. So.
It's not just that, though, right? Because we've got we're hearing that they don't have employees to unload these ships, right? And a shortage of truck drivers.
So it just seems like truck drivers is real.
Is this just because of the handouts? Is this because they still collect some unemployment?
No.
What is it?
We've had a shortage of truck drivers for a long time.
But I've heard that it's much worse now than it was.
Again, because all these corporations realize, demand didn't go anywhere. Actually, it's gone up. So they ordered a whole bunch of stuff. They're taxing everything, right?
Yeah.
So before, they could have got it into warehouse, got it distributed. But now because they've we need everything right now. Okay, they made it all. And now there's, 60 container ships sitting off LA ports.
Right.
Because they can't move everything fast enough to get from here to there to there. Yeah. They didn't lose any truck, but there's been a trucker shortage for 5-10 years, as long as I can remember. There's,
Yeah, there has been, right? I hear them talking about it much more significantly now.
By taking that 6 months off.
So you're just saying this is just like a cluster of all these shipments coming in simultaneously, not enough drivers, so we're sitting on a lot of inventory, sitting offshore.
100%. Like this isn't like China can make as much as we want.
Yeah.
Like that's not an issue.
Their production hasn't really been affected too much, even through the lockdowns and such, because they didn't really have that same type of thing. Yeah.
Right. Well, they did, but again,
initially, but it was shorter.
That was like
it was short.
Long time ago, right? Like I've watched a fair amount of YouTube videos on.
Well, I've been trying to figure it out though, because in the construction industry, I've been experiencing supply chain issues across the board. Across the board.
Ian Zabo, he's like, I don't have my truck. He's like, they've given me this crappy minivan for a month because he's like, I can't get a starter. The starter went on my truck, and he goes, I can't get a starter motor. And then I don't have a truck to give him because I went and bought the last one on the lot. So
you still attribute all that. So I've got, like bathtubs back ordered 18 weeks, shower doors 8 weeks, different stuff that used to be so easy to get. You think it was more of a failed predictions in terms of how much we're going to need, and then it was inconsistent.
Too many people listen to Chicken Little Siddell or people like him saying this is going to shut down everything. And at the end of the day, it didn't, right?
Yeah.
Like construction sites never got shut down. Renovations, kind of, but never really.
Yeah.
And again, people doing home renovations because they were home,
they were still using stuff.
Right?
Yeah.
So, like Home Depot, like all their numbers are better than ever. They're selling out of this stuff, so there is more demand. And then on the supply side, they're like, oh, we don't think we're going to sell as much. So they created that 3 to 6 month gap in inventory when they could, and we're so reliant now on demand, right? Like it's the supply chain is all, okay, this part goes into here. Auto manufacturers they're building trucks right now because that's their highest margin product. They're just not building sedans. But even then, trucks you can hardly get.
I just bought one. Really had to search.
So I just bought one, and my friends own a Chrysler dealership, so I just went and got a Dodge Ram.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Comes tomorrow. I'll take a picture for everybody. Head over my Instagram. You check it out. I'm trying to buy a used one because I hate buying new cars. I used Dodge Ram Rebel. It's a little fancy. It's not too fancy, but it's a diesel. It's whatever. And they're like $66,000 for a 2-year one with 80,000 kilometers. I'm like,
it's insanity.
It's $70,000 new. They're like, but we can't get them. And I'm like, that's not my problem. I'll just give me the gas one. I'll drive for 2 years. But again, I think this is going to go on to 2024.
Yeah, so I mean, it's that short-term outlook where we're going to see a lot of things that we used to pay a lot less for, we're paying more for, just because of even if it's a temporary shortage. In that temporary, if you want it, you pay for it.
Well, they are paying more to get things shipped.
Yeah,
air, that type of thing. Containers have doubled in price. Everything.
Yeah, everything. Shipping costs are way up
because again, they're sitting in port.
Yeah.
If they used to be able to do 6 trips, now they're doing 3 or 4.
Well, think about the cost of assets. Like they amortize assets over their useful life. If you got those ships sitting, that's so expensive. The financing costs on those ships.
It's like fuel, everything. Yeah.
It's like airplanes sitting. It's like a crisis for airlines when their airplanes sit. They need to be in the air and making money.
You were watching someone food.
Yeah, no, I heard, it was just an article that popped up on my phone, a New York supermarket owner saying that he's expecting food prices to skyrocket in the near future. Now, I have seen a couple of pictures of bare shelves in the U.S. That's already happened here and there. And they had that fuel shortage earlier in the year, and mostly due to transportation of those goods, right? So do we see that coming forward? Is it going to stretch people? And what effect does that have on the Canadian real estate market, if any at all?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: the price of food has gone up
very significantly.
Like meat and all that, it's gone up. I mean, but fuel costs, what are we paying? Like $1.50 a liter now? I don't even know.
Yeah, it's up. I saw somebody post one today. Regular was a $1.64 in Toronto. I just
post. Tap and cry inside, and I don't even look anymore.
Yeah,
but I don't think we're going to see that again. I don't think we're going to see bare shelves. Like this has happened a lot. The one thing is, I mean, I know like a lot of the beef did get slaughtered at one point because they're like, okay, well, and then we had discounted beef prices for a while. So if you stocked up your freezer, like my mother-in-law, I don't think we're going to be hyperinflation here. I don't think we're going up 100%. Hyper.
Well, hyper is like something very significant. I think if we're being realistic, like what are they admitting to inflation now? Like 5%? 5%. Yeah. So if they're admitting 5%,
I think you're 7 to 10.
7 to 10 if you're excluding real estate, which is housing, which, I mean, to me, that's essential and it should be in the basket. I know why. I know the argument for not including it in the basket, but if we're including that, we're like 20 plus. So, just something to think about, because those are the real costs that Canadians bear.
Yeah.
And they do have an effect.
thing is with real estate is, you're talking about the actual cost of the house up 20%.
Yeah.
But the cost of the mortgage, the cost of them monthly hasn't changed. Or maybe it's gone up a little now. You're getting mortgages at 1.25%.
You're right. So the interest rates have offset it a bit, but not
interest
completely.
rates, 30-year amortizations. Like it's not like, I again propound is like the reason people will spend more is because they only care about how much it costs them monthly. They don't look at $700,000 or $100 or $1 million or $200,000. Some people do. Most people just say, okay, what's my mortgage going to cost?
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, like you'll see it. Like when you go in to buy a car, they're so focused on this is what this is going to cost you, and they express it in a monthly payment.
This is your no, they do biweekly now.
Oh, biweekly, yeah,
because then it's 26 payments.
Yeah.
So they did the biweekly thing, and there's like it's $300 every biweekly. I'm like, oh, let's just do monthly. Like I don't like
because they think people are just going to times 2 and find the monthly, but it's actually more than that.
100%. I'm like. Yeah,
it's all marketing. It's all marketing and sales. Yeah.
It's all marketing. It's all sales. It's
I agree. Yeah, people do look at it like that to a certain degree. It is going to cut people out of the market, though, when you have the stress test calculating what they can afford. So it is going to have that effect.
I think you're diverging a little bit from the conversation.
No, I know. Yeah, but we're just saying, where does the supply chain? What are the implications of the supply chain challenge? I mean, is it just more expensive at Christmas, and that's as far as we dig into it, or is it more than that?
I think it's more than that. I think. Well, I mean, you talk supply chain, and you're talking real estate. We have a supply chain issue here, and it's done at the local level. That it's NIMBYism, not in my backyard.
Yeah,
they don't want to see towers.
Yeah,
so downtown you got old houses. You have this. I mean, they're palatial. They're nice. For the most part, wealthy people live in them, and maybe that's where they should be building towers to house people. Yeah. But people are like, well, I don't want to sell my house and live next to a tower, which I wouldn't either. Yeah. Yet, at some point, there's got to be some political push to make these things happen. And because, again, we're not building enough houses.
Right, yeah.
Or places for people to live. We're going to have, over the course of the next 5 years, 1 million people are going to come into the greater Horseshoe area, southwestern Ontario.
Yeah, and so if hopefully the supply chain issue doesn't last that long, then it's going to stop us from building other places.
It's going to get worse.
Yeah, well, I mean, then we're probably going to see those prices go up, and that's all kind of linked into what's happening now with the supply chain. Yeah, you're right. Like you said, right? What do they say, 2025 until we're over this? And
my prediction is 2024. Thanks everyone for watching. Hopefully you guys got something on this. I'm going to put a couple links down below for some of the channels I watch on this if you want to go down that rabbit hole. Yeah. Because, I don't know, we like it. It's a lot of fun. Thanks, everyone. Like and subscribe. Catch you next time.